And welcome back to the Awfully Irish podcast.
How are you getting on, lads? Today we have Alan here from Just Man Up podcast.
Hmm.
So, I just wanted to have a chat about this kind of stuff because it's something we don't talk about as lads.
Yeah.
So what made you start that whole thing? Just Man Up
Start.
social.
Yeah. Well, it was started about 2 years ago. And for a while, like where I'm from in Dublin, there's been a lot of young lads on like 18, 19 committing suicide. And it was kind of getting to the point where it was getting, like, I know we hear about suicides a lot and stuff like that, but then it was getting where you'd know someone who knew them or you'd know them. And it was getting very close to home. Um, so for a while, I was saying I need to do something about this. I didn't exactly know what I was going to end up doing. But I said to myself, I need to kind of do something about it. I want to get involved, try help lads, because a couple of years ago when I was in around 2021, I went through a bout with depression myself. Not knowing I was going through depression, because as a young man growing up, depression isn't something that's brought up in conversation as such, you know what I mean? So looking back, I didn't really have any I had support networks around me, but not knowing what I was going through, I didn't actually reach out for help. So, funny enough, I was actually in work one day with one of my friends, and I think there was a suicide in the area, like leading up to, like maybe a couple of weeks beforehand. And we were talking about how horrible it was, and me and him started talking about our mental health, and then from that came me and him being like, Jesus, we should do something about it. And we thought originally we were going to just start a Twitch stream where we just like jump on, two of us play FIFA together and just talk mental health based or whatever and just have a laugh. But we all know playing FIFA would actually be bad for your mental health. But we were talking anyway, and we thought of setting up a podcast, because the one thing about mental health is not many people are talking about it. So we thought, why don't we start a podcast, talk about it, share our stories, and it might encourage lads to start opening up. And yeah, from then it just continued to develop.
Yeah, and you've gotten to where you are now, where you're doing basically everything.
Everything,
Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. And
Anything.
you even have I can see there you're wearing a top with Just Man Up social.
Yeah, we have the merch because originally what happened was like about November last year, I set up a men's group in Dublin. We meet up once every month. We meet up, it's kind of every 2 weeks now at this point. And I was thinking, like, the lads come out and we go for hikes, or we go for a walk, or we go for a chat. And like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, they're buying their own tea, buying their own coffee, buying their own food. And I was thinking, how am I going to try raise, money that I can say, right, lads, don't worry about the teas are on me. So then I thought of the merch idea, and the merch idea is then to try put money back into like a kitty as such. So if we do go out, we can literally get cups of tea, we can get coffee, maybe a bit of grub, and then there's money there as well for growing the idea behind it.
No, it's a great thing. I was going through Instagram one day and I see it and I was like, I need to talk to this guy.
I appreciate it.
I said I said it to the lads as well. It would be a good conversation to have. Yeah, we don't think about it much in Ireland. Would you agree with that? Mental health, especially for guys.
Yeah, I think we're getting better.
It's gotten better, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're getting a lot better, but we're not there yet. We're a long way away from where we need to be. There's still that kind of image of the hard man or the macho man, that men feel the need that they don't need to talk about how they're feeling, or they feel like, a man's a bread earner, and anything he feels, he goes to the pub and he drinks it away. So I still think we still have that kind of stigma attached to it, but we're getting there slowly but surely. Like I think there's been a lot of people jumping on the kind of mental health bandwagon as such, but I had a lot of conversations with people being like, the mental health, people jumping on the bandwagon isn't a good thing. But I think the more people talking about it, the better it is for, say, someone who's like, I need help, So I'd rather people jumping on the bandwagon than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you not think someone's been said to me before that it was a trend, like when it got super big, like 2-3 years ago, that
Yeah.
everyone was just getting on to try and make it into like this trend.
Yeah, and I think the problem with it as well is people are using it as a way of getting Instagram followers, or are using it as a way of, you know, influencers as such. They'd be like, "Oh, talk about mental health," and then they do a big post or they do a couple of posts, and it's this whole thing of just trying to. That's what the likes get. You know, if you open up about your story, that's what the likes get. And I'd want to hope that people aren't getting in for that reason, but they are. And I think it was a trend. But I think the good thing about it is the positives is that if more people are talking about it, the better, because it means that if one of your friends shares a post on mental health and you're struggling, you might say, "Oh, I might be able to talk to him." You know, so the more people sharing about it, I think the better, rather than it being left in the dark, which it was originally.
Since you've started this, have you had guys who you've known open up to you about what they're going through and how they're feeling?
Yeah, well, I've kind of always been that person that people could feel that they could talk to. I've always been, if there's a problem, one of my friends would probably go to me and talk to me about it. Now, the thing is, with Just Man Up and stuff, the lads have all, at the start, were kind of like, oh, maybe they weren't unsure of it or whatever. But since then, I think since it's been grown anyway, like a lot of my mates have came out to the Just Man Up events, gone for walks and stuff like that. I've had people that I grew up with reach out to me to talk about mental health. I've had complete strangers text me and say, "Alan, I'm struggling. Like, what's the next step?" You know, and I always do say this because you find yourself in a difficult position sometimes when you're talking about mental health. People might think that you have the answer. Do you know what I mean? Like, people might think, "Oh, Alan must have the answer." Like, I'm not a trained psychologist. I've done social studies in college. I've done a bit of psychology and that, but I'm not qualified to help people with their problems. I'm just there to try elevate a problem that we have and talk about a problem and hopefully encourage people to may seek help. And that's what I say to my friends if they ever come for help. Like, I'd say, "Listen, I'll go with you. If you want to go to a therapist or you want to go to a counselor, I'll go with you. I'll be beside you. But I can't actually physically help you." Do you know what I mean? In that sense.
Yeah, no. It's kind of part of it is you need to help yourself, but someone giving that push makes the difference. Well, of course, other people can help, but really, it's down to you, and you gotta sort it. Yeah, therapy is a big part of that. And if people want to go to these walks and stuff you do, how can they go about it?
Yeah, it's just literally reach out, text me on Instagram and say, Just Man Up Social, just say I'm interested in going. We try keep it 18 plus and men only, because 18 plus it's I wouldn't want some of the shit.
Good God, that was Thomas.
You
were saying, sorry?
Yeah, so it's just literally give me a text. We keep it 18 plus because some of the shit we talk about sometimes I don't think it's for kids or people under the age 18. But literally just be a man, and we kind of do them around Dublin because that's where the majority of us are based. But we're looking at going to places like Glendalough, stuff like that as well. So people could meet us out there.
I hate to be the guy asking. Well, what we do. Have you ever gotten any flack for being just men?
Yeah, a lot.
How have you reacted to that, or?
I just react to it the only way I know, and like the big thing with Just Man Up is we try to use laughter and having a laugh as a way of talking about mental health, because talking about mental health is a very difficult conversation, and it wouldn't be something where you'd sit in. Well, I'd hope that you'd be able to just sit in the pub and talk about it with your mates. But when someone talks about it, especially with men get very kind of, "Oh, it's very serious, I don't want to talk about it." So I try to use laughter as a way of normalizing it and try making it an easier conversation than it is.
Yeah.
So when I get like messages, like I've done posts before and I've got messages being like, from women, and they've been saying like, why aren't you doing anything? What about women's mental health and stuff like that? And I to be honest, I said I'm a man, and I only know what it's like to be a man with mental health. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I advocate for everyone's mental health, but as a man, I feel like I'm in a better position to help men rather than helping women as well. Do you know what I mean?
And one thing I don't know if people really are thinking about it, you're not depriving women of
No.
the right to talk to about their mental health. There's way more things for them to go to compared to men. And
even
women
then
are a lot more accepting of those problems.
Exactly.
Other lads can be.
Exactly.
Unfortunate.
Exactly, and that's the thing. That's the reason I set it up is because, like, 8 out of 10 suicides was last year's figure. 8 out of 10 suicides in Ireland are committed by men. You know, and I know there's a big mental health problem. Man, woman, or whatever. You know, everyone has mental health. Mental health doesn't discriminate on your gender. But being a man, I feel like I'm in a better position to help men. And there isn't enough people talking about men's mental health, so that's why I kind of zoned in on it. You know, because it'd be difficult being a man and just talking about women's mental health. But you know what I mean? I feel like I advocate for everyone's mental health, but I zone in on men's mental health. That'd be kind of the niche.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I'm after brain farting. Someone say something. Do you reckon it's harder now being a lad than it was a couple of years ago? The world's changing really fast, but lads aren't changing all that much.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like every different generation has their own problems to deal with. I feel like now with social media and stuff like that, I see like videos on Facebook, on Twitter and stuff like that. If someone has a mental health breakdown, you ever see them videos that are, now listen, people laugh at them. I've laughed at them. I'm not away from it, but you know, people doing crazy things in the Dublin city centre, whether they're, you know, having a mental health breakdown or whether they're on drugs or whatever, and they could be running down the street naked. But I feel like the problem with it now is because social media is there, that if you do something stupid, it's with you forever. So if you're having a really bad time mentally and you do something that you shouldn't have, someone can literally just take up their phone, record you, and that's with you forever. And that's going to cause more mental health issues, or it's going to could cause anxiety, depression. Like I see a lot of videos of young lads, especially nowadays, getting beaten up by other people. That's with you forever. If I got a hiding, like I'm only 25, but if I got a hiding in school 10 years ago or earlier, it wouldn't have been on Facebook. It wouldn't have been. It would have just been there and then, and it would have been done and dealt with. So I got a hiding. I'll get a bit of stick for a week and then I'll move on. But nowadays, like young lads, young girls even, it's online is, although it can be very positive, it can be negative. And dealing with that and dealing with, you know, the likes of body image or what is the ideal man, what is the ideal woman, prioritizing likes over how you feel about yourself. Like it's a troubling time. It is a troubling time.
Just talking about the online side of it, I don't know if you've ever seen these stories or so on. Do you ever see things about the guys and girls who've become memes and like the devastation it had on their mental health?
Yeah.
Or like a fight video going viral. Like it just ruins them.
Yeah, but rightly so. You know what I mean? If I was in that position, because then in a couple of years' time, you're going for a job interview and your man and your woman sitting in front of you and they say, "Oh, you're your man who done the," and you're like, "Will I ever get away from this?" You know, like you could be living in a village, town, or a part of the city, and if something happens to you really bad and everyone knows you from that, you can move away. You can move to another town. You can, obviously that's not the answer, but you could move away and physically get away from that. But the likes of bullying and stuff like that, you can't get away from it anymore. It's online. Like you could literally, like I'm a youth worker as well, so my actual job is youth work. I don't like Just Man Up is kind of just something that I've been doing on the side for the last 2 years. But one thing I notice is like the young people I work with, they could literally be going to school getting bullied, And then years ago, you'd be able to go home and get away from the bullying in school.
Yeah.
But now you're getting bullied at home and getting bullied in school. And it's just detrimental to young people and everyone's mental health.
Yeah, and it can leave you feeling very isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way schools work, or the way as people work in schools. Okay, I'm just out of school, and school was the most toxic time I've ever gone through. I've been such a happy guy since we finished school, and thank God for COVID making it happen sooner. Well, COVID's a bad thing; it's terrible.
Yeah,
but no,
you can take a positive from it.
Yeah, people in our school were super toxic, and some of the bullying that went on, stuff I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Lads having a YouTube channel and getting bullied to death. There was one lad, I'll never forget. I think we were in TY or 5th year, and he set up a YouTube channel, and we had this intercom thing in the gym that connected to an aux cord. And lads had been bullying him about it for ages anyway, but they went a step further and played it on the intercom.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Now this guy was really small, and the guy who did it was 6 foot something, and the little lad hit the guy so hard you could hear it from every side of the gym.
Oh man.
I respect him for hitting the guy, because fucking hell.
Yeah.
That was some of the worst. That's actually the worst bullying I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I remember that myself now.
Yeah, poor guy.
And that's the thing. It's stepping out. When you step outside, like I don't know whether, like you were saying, you aren't obviously from the same place where I'm from. I'm from a very kind of just outside the outside Dublin Sea, and the community I live in. It's very like if you step outside your box or step outside the norm in the area, then you're considered like, oh, look at him, or people would throw around.
Exactly the same here.
Yeah, people would throw around like anyone doing anything different. They were throwing around any words to slag them and stuff like that.
That's a very Irish thing to knock someone because they're doing something
different.
There's
that whole thing though, the small town.
Small town mentality.
In a small town, you do something, everybody knows about it. We've talked about that before. We live in exactly what that is like.
Yeah, and I'm literally just outside the city, like, and it's the exact same here. Anyone does that, and everyone knows. Do you know what I mean? Because as I said, with social media, everything goes on social media. Or if someone does something, a video or anything like that, it's in WhatsApp groups and it's getting shared left, right, and centre. Football teams, friends group, workmates, and it's gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no hiding anymore. That's one of the difficult things. I think people, just going back to your question of people being in that, is it tougher now? I just think there's no hiding now.
Yeah, that's one thing. Cancel culture is very relevant at the moment. If you did anything that was online, good lord, so one day someone's gonna go find something and you'll be ruined.
Exactly. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I'm allowed course on this. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Curse all you want.
Yeah, grand. It's a bit late, but well, like listen, I'm screwed then, to be honest, because there's one thing I advocate for, and it's the ability to be able to change. So I'm not the same person I was last week. I'm not the same person I was a year ago, and I'm definitely not the same person I was 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like in today's society, we hold a lot on someone. So I was speaking to someone not too long ago, and they were saying, "Oh, I hate him. He done something on me in school." And I was like, "Mate, that was 12 years ago." Do you know what I mean? He could be a completely different person now than who he was back then. But I feel like with cancel culture and stuff like that, like, fair enough if you came out 10 years ago and you said something absolutely disgusting, but I still think you should have a chance of redemption. If you still believe the same disgusting mentality you had 10 years ago, then yeah, maybe you don't deserve the respect you're getting. But if you can change your mindset and change your opinion. And if you have a different opinion now, I feel like that should be completely acceptable.
I say for myself, I definitely agree with that. I don't know about the lads, but you are not the same person you were blank amount of years ago.
No.
And like what we see is acceptable and unacceptable changes so often. It changes so
100%,
fast.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I know what the whole thing. I'm just thinking about it now. Do you know how they cancelled a lot of shows, really old shows? Just say, for example, I know Fawlty Towers, an episode of that was cancelled because one of the lads, like one of the really old guys, and he kept saying the N word or something. But you know, Fawlty Towers came out in the late 70s, where in a time like that would have been more, I don't know, maybe acceptable. Not, do you know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
It's completely
you can't judge,
different what happens. It's like norms change, people change.
You can't judge like the 70s morals with 2020 morals. Like we can all agree now that was bad, but it's been there for 50 years. What was the point in getting rid of it? No one's probably watching it anymore unless you're a fan of the show.
And just like 10 years ago, stuff has changed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just like 5 years ago, and in 5 years' time, stuff is going to change. Just like 6 months ago, when none of us were wearing masks and none of us worried about anything in like diseases, we were washing our hands, but we weren't washing our hands the way we're washing our hands now. But
scrubbing your hands raw.
Yeah, but literally like that, life can change, and I think people can change like that. I know a lot of people who've literally had, you know, where bollocks has grown up. You know what I mean? And like when I was in school, like I wasn't severely bullied, but like there was people, because I used to wear glasses growing up in school. So like there was a couple of lads that used to pick on me for my glasses, and until I stood up to them, they kind of let me go. But like I wouldn't hold it against them because they were kids. Do you know what I mean? They were kids. They didn't know what was going on. They were going through going through puberty. They had their own shit going on in life. They had their own battles with mental health. So why would I hold something against someone who bullied me 13 years ago? Do you know what I mean? Like, I find that.
You have a point, and I myself, I wouldn't be the same way. You know, like I'm only fresh out of it, and I wouldn't be thinking that way. But you're kind of changing my perspective, even.
But you never know. In a couple of years, you might. But I've came to the point where I've accepted that, and I'm all right with it. You know what I mean? You're only freshly out of school. I'm out of school. Jesus, 8 years, 7 years. I feel really old in this call at the minute. But but I've came to that point where I'm like, do you know what? Like the past, like they were kids, and it may have helped with me to degree that I've learned a lot about, you know, psychology and sociology and stuff like that, and the work I'm in, because I'm working with young teenagers at the minute. So maybe I've just kind of came to a realization that, listen, there's no point hating a 12-year-old. He's a completely different person now. Yeah,
no, people do change, and that saying that people never change is pretty stupid in itself.
Yeah,
sure. You know yourself, like your entire body, like every cell is replaced every like 7 years.
Yeah.
So different people.
You're physically a different person and mentally a different person, because if your cells are changing, then everything that's happened to you day by day is affecting how you're changing mentally. The stuff that's going on in your life. Did you get broken up with? Did you miss the bus 3 weeks in a row? That's gonna make you feel shit about life. You know, like stuff happens that change our mental health and our mental well-being and the mental person we are. Just like every 7 years, we could be a physically different person.
Yeah. What a time we live in.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyone else notice that Dara has muted himself for the last 20 minutes?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Just fucking dog barking outside, man.
And,
you're all right.
Sorry about that now, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, like I feel like it's a lot easier now than it would have been 10 years ago to kind of even not just have a podcast, but have a podcast where you can talk about like
anything,
yeah, pretty much, like men's mental health, like obviously with yours, and that's
the thing that concerns. The thing that concerns me the most about your podcast is, I was thinking beforehand, how much flack is this guy getting because it says it's a men's mental health thing? Like, how much shit is this guy getting?
You can get a lot of shit online, and you even get a lot of shit just because it's called Man Up. You know what I mean? That's one of the main things I get. I was going to ask about that. That's one of the main things I get.
On your merch, it says just Man Up, and then it says in small, like laughter is the answer, not silence. If people see the just Man Up thing, I can imagine how they could feel.
Yeah.
But even like trying to explain it after, like, come on.
I think the one thing I'm slowly starting to believe is that, like, I remember I posted something a while ago and someone commented on it. This is one of my greatest moments in all of having Just Man Up, right? So, are you ready for the best story you're ever going to hear in your life, lads?
I'm ready. I live for this stuff.
Born ready for this shit.
Right. So, yous post podcasts online. I don't know whether yous get a little bit of hate or people annoying you, but anyway, this person came on to one of my posts and commented abuse towards me, towards what I'm doing, like just a lot of shit, being like, you're an absolute disgrace, man up, this, that, and the other, la da da da. And I just literally commented like a couple of words saying, did you read the post? And then within a minute of me replying, they deleted their post. And it's the greatest achievement I've ever had in my entire life. And that's the way I kind of deal with the hate I get for Just Man Up. I say, listen, just look at what I'm doing. Click on the page and look at the last 2 posts and tell me, is that promoting men's mental health or is that like being against men's mental health?
Yeah.
And the main thing, as I always say, is keep the phrase, change the meaning. Because I think with cancel culture and stuff like that, we're trying to get rid of words, but we're never going to get rid of words. Words are there.
Shutting down free speech.
Yeah, and words have been there since the beginning of time, and words will be there till the end of time. So what I think is we should start trying to change the context and change the meaning. So manning up, rather than being, you know, telling a little boy who was on the floor crying after falling in the playground to man up, it should be that men being encouraged to speak about their mental health. So manning up and being a man is being able to talk about your feelings. It's being different. It's not just being this macho man that we see on the media and see in films every day. It's a different type of man.
What it means to be a man these days has drastically changed from what it might have meant 20, 40, 50 years ago. It's so much different.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the main things is that sometimes I get in a rut where, you know, what people are saying actually can bother me, because I've seen a lot of recently about the kind of Black Lives Matter and people posting all lives matter and then people fighting back and forth on Instagram and whatever. And I was just kind of like we can't physically sit down and have conversations with people anymore. Like you can't sit there and disagree with someone and say, right, I disagree with you, but I still like you as a person. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't disagree with people. So like people posting Black Lives Matter on their Instagram or whatever. People were then brought the whole every life matters, because we're trying to constantly outdo each other. Why can't we just say, oh, you believe in that? Fair play. Keep going. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like a mob mentality.
Yeah.
Now, I completely agree. There's a lot of problems going on in the United States with regards to how they treat black people. Like, come on. Bit of cop on that.
Yeah.
We've had someone on and we talked about it in Ireland before. So if you want to check that episode, I'm not going to get into it now.
I feel like the biggest misconception is that like people hear the phrase Black Lives Matter and then they just get selfish and they're just like, oh, what the fuck? That means
what
that
about me?
Oh, fuck you! Like all lives matter, and that's not what it means. Like
I know.
It's about having everyone be
such a pure
equal.
thing to say all lives matter. It's such a wholesome thing to say, but the context of what's going on ruined it.
Context
fucked
it.
Like, people aren't concerned about the Muslims in China who were in concentration camps.
Yeah.
So that's a big concern to me. People.
Listen,
people
but the
don't
problem
care about that kind of stuff.
But the problem is that people can't have conversations about it. So we can sit here and talk about it, and whether you agree with me or whether I agree with you, that's completely fine. I'd be okay with that. But the problem is that people have to try one up each other, and they have to constantly be. So like, just man up. What about women?
No.
Oh, okay. You're at a protest about the horrible things that are going on in Israel with the Palestinians. What about people in Cork? Oh, you're at a protest about homelessness. What about people in refugee like, why can't you just care about
What's
certain thing? Yeah. Rather than always trying to one up each other. I feel like we're just constantly bickering and one up and saying, right, just man up now. I do use Twitter.
how toxic is your Twitter feed?
Fine.
This is fine.
Yeah, I literally go through a one thing I recommend for anyone listening for your mental health. Go through. So you know the way sometimes you go through your wardrobe and the shit in your wardrobe doesn't fit you anymore and you fuck it out.
Yeah.
So shit that you don't like on your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, get rid of it. It's toxic for your mental health. You don't need that shit in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's okay to have the disagreement. So people who you disagree with, but the very toxic energy drain and shit you see. Get fucking rid of it. That's the way I look at it.
I'm gonna give that a go.
I do that.
Yeah, I do that as well. Like if I see something on Instagram, like I'll mute the fucking account straight away.
Yeah,
I love that shit out my face. Like,
yeah, I love it. Yeah,
a lot of shit on an app that we've gone on is Reddit.
We got so much shit on Reddit.
Reddit is the most toxic place I've ever fucking been to.
I'm not even on Reddit, lads.
What do we do on it? We posted.
We ask about like things that we want to talk about in the podcast, and we want to get people on to talk about that, like know a lot more than us. And like I think the first thing we did, we put in a backpacking Reddit that we want. Like we were planning this trip to go backpacking across the northern Mediterranean.
Oh.
And,
and fucking.
We asked people, we said we wanted someone to get on and talk to us, give us advice, give us their story.
Have a chat about it, like give us advice, give us stories, like tips and tricks, shit like that. And someone just fucking goes like, "Oh, this is a fucking disgrace to the backpacking community. You don't know."
Oh Jesus!
And like they were like, "Oh, like what the fuck? What word did they use? They used a really fucking.
Don't be so childish.
Don't be so childish. That was it. And we were like, what the fuck? Like
the attitude we find in a lot of the subreddits is be an expert or don't fucking be here.
Yeah, it's so bullshit. Like,
and it's very difficult to be an expert in a lot of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm a huge paleontology nerd, and we had a paleontologist on, Jack Horner. Jack Horner was involved in the Jurassic Park movies, and he has an experiment going on about bringing back dinosaurs using.
I think I heard of him.
Yeah.
Did you put up a picture, Thomas? They based Alan Grant off him in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
He wants to bring back the dinosaurs using genes that exist in birds. Because birds are dinosaurs. They're avian dinosaurs. So when we had him on, and I put in a post and Reddit, like, I can't believe I just got Jack Horner on, sound man, talked about it in a Reddit post. And then one of the only things I got was, yeah, it's great you got a paleontologist. It's just a shame it was that guy. It's like, oh my God.
Jesus Christ. You can't please everyone. That's one thing.
Yeah.
With the internet, it's hard to please one person. Never mind pleasing everyone. So,
like, why did you have to go and say that? Why couldn't you just kept scrolling?
Yeah, and that's it.
That was a highlight.
That's what it does. It gives the internet gives people a voice, and it makes people feel like their opinion is. Listen, I kind of. There's some opinions I don't respect, but I aim to respect everyone's opinion. Now, sometimes I don't, but I just feel like this that we have in our hand gives us instant gratification. So if you post something out completely fucking outrageous and one person likes, you're like, oh, one person thinks my opinion's fucking great, and then it's just like, then it gives people with that kind of need to shut people down, gives them value.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, and especially online, more toxic stuff gets more likes. People like it more than positive things. I don't notice that over the last while. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
And if it doesn't get more likes, it definitely gets more attention. Like,
Because
if someone sees something completely outrageous, they're like, "What the fuck?" and they're gonna start commenting and just then that just gets their message out there more. Like so.
Yep, people love drama.
Exactly.
That's why Love Island does so well.
Yeah, like even things that shouldn't be like have drama behind them.
Reality TV shows that feed off drama and people.
Yeah, feed off people like fucking kicking the shit out of each other, like fun.
That shouldn't be a thing. And people who go off what is it called? Love Island shit. Anyway, people who come off that show, they have to go then on Twitter, online, and people saying, "Oh, I hate that person. Can't believe they did that."
Like,
they've been in there for months.
You know,
imagine the amount of comments of people just saying, "Fuck this person. They hate that person. Can't believe they did that to that person." Their entire life is being televised to the whole world, basically, and
I don't know what he is now, but I've been streaming on Twitch the last, say, couple of months. But you get a lot of people coming in and just abusing you, like randomly abusing you. And I'm at a nice point now. Like we've a nice community. It's not big. Like it's not like I'm streaming to thousands. Like we kind of get an average of like 20 odd people each stream. But I'm at a nice place now where I'm not getting debt. Do you know what I mean? Off people. But that's one of the worries I have. If it ever does get to a point where I'm out there to more people, like, am I going to be getting that constantly of like, just shut the fuck up, stop talking, nobody cares about you? Do you know what I mean? Like, because that's what you get. Like, I get it once every couple of weeks, but imagine that every day.
That's fucking tough. Because we've had a lot of comments on our videos and stuff, and they've all been positive. We've never had something negative. But I already know that the second I get to read one of them that says something negative, I'm gonna be like, oh, for fuck's sake, what's the point of even doing this? Yeah. It's a pretty weird thing. We focus on the negative. You can get 100 people saying, that was great, that was a great video, but if 5 of them said, you suck, fuck you, or whatever, you know, that's the one that's gonna get you.
I'm like that as well. Like, I got my first ever dislike on a YouTube video the other day, and I was kind of looking at it, and like, I had to actually like tell myself, like, shut up. You know what I mean? You've had all these people liking your videos, and now you have one dislike, and you're focusing on it. And that's kind of what we do, but it's just constantly reminding yourself and constantly checking in yourself, right, well, 20 people liked it, 1 person didn't. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
That dislike button on YouTube, it's such a bad thing to have for an individual.
It's also a good thing. You're entitled to freedom of speech, and we can't just shut down things we don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, saying that though, but do you know, I remember when I got on my first, I remember when we got our video and I got a dislike, I was like, oh, well, like, really
what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?
I'm there for a couple of minutes, like, thinking about, like, oh.
But we have to work on that and think past it. Like, we can't just get our feelings hurt by someone disliking a video.
They could have disliked by accident. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I'm not trying to like invalidate what you're saying, Thomas. I don't mean to do that. Sorry. But yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of freedom of speech, even if you don't agree with it. So, yeah.
That's why this podcast is here, isn't it?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
We talk to so many people who have so many different opinions, and it's great. We've never had an argument with anyone. 40-something guests.
Do I want one?
Sure. Tato or King. Tato or King.
And I hate Eastern. I hate East like Leinster. Fuck those guys.
One debate we've had is like fucking Tato or King.
Yeah. King all day.
What?
King all day.
Thanks everyone for watching the podcast, and hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. No, if you're entitled to that opinion, even if it makes you lesser.
I'm entitled to that opinion, but I'm just saying Tato have way more variety.
That's the best way. That's the best way to deal with people.
No, fuck you. I hate you now. You don't like the same thing as me.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking.
I might cancel you later on. It depends what.
Yeah. But that's the best way. That's the one way I feel I deal with people who. Actually, what was it on? Did you ever see Chernobyl?
Yes.
I watched it.
Yeah. There's a part in it where one of the actors says, someone comes in, they say something, and he says to the woman, I like your opinion. Oh no, I respect your opinion, but I like mine more. So that's a good way of dealing with people who are wrecking your head now. Just being like, oh, I respect your opinion, but mine's better. So piss off.
Yeah. But no, Taylor's better. Oh.
That's a problem. Especially over in the States and stuff.
Spuddies for the win.
People don't.
Spuddies. I like Spuddies.
Yeah. People don't give a fuck about anyone else's opinion but their own. They won't even like play it at all. They'll say,
well,
oh.
a lot of people do, and that you gotta think about the people who do accept other opinions. That's a good person. That's someone who's got their head screwed on right. Like, you got to see both sides. You can't be like only on one side, and if anyone says anything else, they're a Nazi.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like that. It's really weird.
An open mind. There's a lot to be said for an open mind and just being respectful of other people's beliefs, other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like that's where the world's in a mess in the minute, because we haven't got enough people who can just sit down and say, right, I completely disagree with you, but we're all right. I'm not going to start a war with you. I just don't agree with you. I don't agree with the way you're living. But at the minute, we just have so many argumentative people who believe they're right, believe it's like in life, there is no black or white. It's all grey. Do you know what I mean? We're all just learning every day and just trying to get by and be as happy as we can. And I don't think people realise that. There is no black or white. There is no right way. Like, you don't get a fucking manual when you're born. You come out of the womb and say, read this manual and you will have a fantastic life and everything will be great. You don't get given that.
Yeah, right, if we did.
Yeah, you would. But you just have to, you know, everything is grey. So you just have to learn as you go along and learn from your experiences, learn from other people. Yeah. And just be a nice fucking person. Be kind.
Have you ever heard of Daryl Davis?
Yeah.
Sorry? Heard of Daryl Davis?
I have. That guy. Joe Rogan podcast. What a legend.
He is unbelievable, isn't he? Like.
Yeah. What a man.
Do you know who he is, boys?
Is that the musician?
He's the musician, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know him, yeah.
That guy. What a legend.
What an amazing man.
Yeah.
And they
when
tried
you talk
to
about
cancel
people respecting other people's opinions and just, you know, leaving them out of equations, like this guy,
he's been called a white supremacist. He's been called a black supremacist. He's been called a Nazi. He's been called everything under the sun. But I don't know, with an open mind, you gotta look at this guy and see all the good he's done. He got people out of the Klan. He opened people's minds.
That's not some easy thing, like.
No.
He's collected the robes, and that's people don't like about him. He's collected the robes of people he's helped.
Yeah, and he's starting, isn't he? He has like a museum now or something, and he's putting the robes up in the museum. Yeah.
But he's done so much more than a post on Twitter. He went to over 100 and something Klansmen. That was super dangerous as a black man for him to do.
Yeah.
But he went to over 100 Klansmen and talked them out of it.
Yeah, all he did was have a chat with them, like.
He put his life on the line a lot of the time as well.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for that man.
People have the audacity to say he's this and that and the other.
Yeah, and that's a good way of dealing with trolls as well. Like the way he kind of does it. Like trolls, I kind of deal with trolls in a compassionate point of view. So it's kind of like, if someone's giving me grief, I come at the angle of being like, well, this person clearly isn't happy within themselves and their mental health isn't doing well. So I always kind of give the second chance, being like, listen, you know, this isn't good for you. Going on the internet and abusing people, you know, coming into me Twitch stream. Yeah, coming into the Twitch stream and literally abusing me isn't good for you, but it's not also good for me. So, you know, you can come in, reintroduce yourself, and we'll be okay with that. But I feel like with people who have opinions that are, you know, very kind of against the norm, against the norm, is that the way of phrasing it? Yeah, kind of against our kind of norm beliefs, you know, like treating people well, treating people equally. So people who don't believe in that certain way, I feel like it's the best way of treating it is coming at people with compassion, you know, and empathy, rather than going at their throat and saying, no, you're wrong. Come at them with compassion and try to show them a better way of living, just like Daryl Davis done. And if you haven't seen the Joe Rogan podcast with him, I would definitely recommend it. The man is a legend.
The man is a legend, and you can get a lot of flack for saying that too. That's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like that picture on the top left, one underneath. I feel like that picture's been used out of context to call him all kinds of things.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Actually, a lot of people ignoring context is a big deal.
Yeah. Just like the post I was telling you about earlier, when the person just laid into me and I said, "Did you read the post?" You know what I mean?
But like, it's how stupid that is. It's not having the effort to go and read it, but the effort to criticize it.
Mm-hmm.
Like people reading news headlines and saying whatever garbage, and then not actually reading a full story.
Yeah. Read the headline and don't read the story.
Yeah.
That's the way we are. Because of our attention span. Our attention span is so bad now. People just like read the headline and say, whatever. It could be the most catchy headline that has nothing got to do with the story, and then someone will turn around and say, "Did you hear this, that, and the other about this person?" You'd be like, "Did you read the story?" And they'd be like, "Oh no," you know. Well,
Yeah,
that's the society we live in.
That's the problem with tabloid papers, and it's just like on those sites though, they want people to not click on, they just see the title. They want to. That's exactly what it is. Clickbait, yeah.
Yeah.
That is such a. I don't like clickbait. I think it's like the worst thing ever. It's so irritating when just say like, when you find a title like, "Oh, this guy kills him," and it's like, "Oh, he absolutely slayed them." Something. Do you know what I mean?
Speaking of that, I watched the Unknown. Was it Unknown Mysteries documentary thing on Netflix?
On Netflix, Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had one where they basically made it out to be like the husband did it, but I started questioning it during it because he was seen by people in work when whatever happened was supposed to have happened. They got a confession out of somebody else. They had so many other things, but the people who made the documentary had it set in their mind that it was the husband who did it, and they made it out that way. And I felt terrible for the guy.
That's where professionalism comes in. Go in with no bias towards any person and just document. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can ruin people's lives. That shit can.
I think.
Yeah, because me and my mom were talking about it. My mom was like full on like, "Oh, he definitely did it," and then I said, "Let's take a look at it." And stuff they left out of the documentary, like they didn't mention that he remarried, because they made him out to be like obsessed with this woman, who was his ex-wife, or she was his wife at the time, but then unfortunately, she was killed, and went missing, 600 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
I would recommend it. It's a decent show, but you need to like form your own opinions. They're very good at getting it in your mind. Is there any what?
Paranormal shit in it.
Yeah, they've like UFO stuff.
Oh, I love that.
Do you know who I think get the worst of that though? Of people assuming they did it. It definitely has to be the McCanns. Those poor people.
Yeah.
They lost their fucking daughter, and everyone just goes.
I was on the side of thinking that they did it, and I feel terrible about it now.
Yeah, I do think though. What was the kind of reason behind that is because they left the kid in the apartment by themselves. That was the story that was pushed to all of us. So people originally thought, "Geez, that's terrible parenting."
That was the narrative that they pushed.
Yeah, the narrative straight away has them on the back foot because they're leaving a kid in a hotel on their own. So people, even if they didn't do it, people are going to blame them for being bad parents anyway. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I don't know how you'd show your face to your friends or your family with the whole world thinking that you killed your kid or you let this happen to your kid.
Imagine their mental health.
Being a parent's a hard thing, but that must be so much worse. And not knowing it within yourself, okay, it wasn't us. Where is she? And if we start asking these questions, or start doing stuff to try to find her, people are going to be assuming we're trying to cover up that we did it, or blah, blah, blah.
Have they found out who done it?
No.
Yes. They didn't somebody admit to knowing?
There's a main suspect who was in
Germany or something.
Area. Yeah, he's from Germany. He's in the
just straight up said that she was dead.
In the same area for like I think the same 2 weeks that they were there, and he was seen making what was it? The call record showed that he made a call a half an hour before she went missing.
All right.
Yeah, but like they don't have full proof yet, but he's known to be like associated with that kind of stuff as well. So
yeah, bad guy.
That bad guy is a fucking understatement.
Yeah, definitely. Lads, do you have something positive to say?
Listen, we're all alive. All of us here are alive.
On the sex tonight.
We're on the sesh tonight. We were drinking last night as well. I can't believe it. I don't know why. You're a Black Ops fan, yeah?
Yeah. I'm a Call of Duty head.
Yeah.
We had Sergeant Frank Woods on the podcast before, and we were trying to do a live stream with him last night, and
we got him so drunk.
Technical difficulties, and Guinness got in the way of that.
Wait, who? Sorry?
Sergeant Frank Woods.
You know Woods from Black Ops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit,
we're drinking buddies with Woods, but we tried to get him on a live stream last night, and sure, the whole thing just went a complete fuck up. So
where do you do your live streams?
YouTube.
We tried
use OBS.
We used OBS with YouTube, and fucking just it went wrong on. First it went wrong on Thomas's computer, then it went wrong on Jared's computer, and my computer's been fucked for like the last 2 weeks.
Oh shit.
So yeah.
So while we got to see him drink himself into oblivion with his manager Darwin, and it was hilarious, other people didn't get to see what we got to see. I feel terrible for him, but it was hilarious. He was singing.
He's probably
songs.
happy no one else can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good crack.
Oh yeah, he's good crack. Yeah. Ever since we've done this, we've met loads of really cool people though. Like
we've had a fucking ton of cool people on. Like Jesus.
That's the best thing about podcasts. This is the one thing I miss. My podcast has stopped since Corona because I usually do them face to face. But it's the one thing I miss: meeting interesting people, meeting people who know more about something than I do, and just learning from them.
It's a great thing. But you should consider doing the online part because you have access to way more people.
I know, yeah. Oh, well, that's what I'm going to be doing.
We've had a variety of experts and scientists and actors and people from all stretches of life to get on, and it's been great. We've had ghost hunters, we've had chefs.
Class.
Dancers, actors. Sure, we've met the whole lot of them. Like now we
met them all. Many times the TV's on, I can say I talked to them.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Yeah, no, it's great fun, but yeah, I guess if someone has the same message as you, they want to spread, would you do it online, like a Skype kind of thing?
Well, the plan going forward is to get it online, because to be honest, at the minute I am so busy with work, with Just Man Up, with life, that I'm struggling to find time. And I know for a fact if I have to arrange to meet someone somewhere, or I have to arrange a specific time in my house or their house, it's just more time. Whereas if I sit down, jump on a Skype call after work, it's a lot quicker and it's a lot easier, and I can access more people. And the podcast itself isn't just mental health based. The reason behind that is because we wanted it. Well, when I say we, me and my friend originally started it, but he stopped doing it about a year ago. He moved to Canada. But when we started it, we wanted to just have normal conversations. So see the way now we're having a mad random conversation, which I love about podcasts. Like they can go anywhere, but the whole point of it being that mental health is included in it. So it's a normal conversation and mental health's in it. So rather than it being just, mental health, facts, figures, everything, you're going to scare people away with that shit. You know what I mean? It's about having a normal conversation with people. So say if I get someone on who's a yoga instructor, or get someone on who does something, talk about that and then incorporate mental health in the conversation. So then it's normal. Do you know what I mean? It's not this big thing that's happening. It's like it kind of flows in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But you were just saying there with the facts and figures, you do have to show those at some point. They are very, very relevant. Like when you said earlier, like the amount of guys who are out of the suicides that happened like last year and how many guys it was, that's insane. We don't talk about that. That's just like insanity.
It is. And that's the thing about it, that like the one thing that gets me with men's mental health, and like obviously as I said, and I have to keep saying this, which is a thing that hopefully one point I don't have to keep saying, that I care about everyone's mental health. You know what I mean? Everyone's. And I advocate, if people go onto the Instagram, Facebook, whatever, YouTube videos, that isn't just for men, it's for women as well. But I'm just sick of not seeing enough support for men's mental health. Like I'm just sick of seeing like the figures are there. 8 out of 10 deaths by suicide. I think it was last year's figures. I haven't got 2019, but it was 2018, 2019. 8 out of 10 was men. Deaths by suicide was men. Like government, higher officials, people have more power than I do. Why isn't something being done about that? You know what I mean? Like,
you know what's stupid? People with more power than you are doing less than what you're doing. You got a mic, You got a computer, and you got a personality, and that's done so much more than a guy standing in the doll right now.
And that's the worrying thing, you know what I mean? And I know you said facts and figures are so important, but like, if the facts and figures are there, then why are people shying away from it? Do you know what I mean? Like the evidence is there, the proof is there that, you know what I mean? And people know, like, it's a known thing. Like when you reached out, you said, "Oh, it's a conversation that needs to be had." You know, it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, it's a conversation I want to have.
Yeah, I know it's a conversation that needs to be had. A majority of people know that men don't talk about their mental health. It's a conversation that needs to be had. Then why aren't these conversations being had more?
We just addressed the fact that guys don't talk about it, and then we move on. It doesn't go past that, and that's where it all goes wrong.
Yeah, that's very true.
But it should be guys driving it, like.
Yeah.
What you shouldn't expect. It sounds kind of weird way I'm going to phrase it. You shouldn't expect women to try fix our problems.
Yeah.
We need to sort each other out, like lads helping lads.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the men's.
Of course,
the men's group
women
is.
can help, and of course, everyone being involved in this is so important. But fundamentally, if you want guys to change their attitude about it, you got to start with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the men's the group we have. We've like over 30 lads in a WhatsApp group, and like people could just put in one day. So the WhatsApp group is like most WhatsApp groups. You know what I mean? There's mad shit going in and out. But then someone could just change the tone straight away and say, "To be honest, lads, I'm struggling." And someone could say, within a minute, someone will text back. Within a minute, someone will say, "Do you want to meet up?" Within a minute, someone is there. And I think that is the beauty of it, man. Like, it's not just me. It's not just me. Like, there is other lads there. There's lads everywhere willing to help, but we just need to elevate them. We need to promote them. You know what I mean? Like that Just Man Up group, like it's opened my eyes to so much that, as in, like, there are so many lads there willing to help. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't have to have the one thing I always say about the men's mental health group we have, it isn't just a mental health group. I know I labeled it a men's mental health group, but it originally started as a mental health group. But it's not just that. People have now become friends from it. People are meeting up, going to the gym together, going for walks, going for points. Like, people have become friends from it, and I think that is just the beauty of it. And I do 100% agree with you. We need men pushing it. And I know, as you said, we need everyone. It needs to be coming from a collective. But, like, I'd much rather, if I was struggling, I'd much rather some fella or a man to come over to me and say, "Listen, I was there. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
I know a better way." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that helps so much more.
Yeah. I agree with you.
It's true.
Is that got deep?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Like,
we knew that was going to happen on the podcast.
It's the beauty of it, though. Like, the beauty of podcasts, the beauty of having conversations. We can literally talk about UFOs 5 minutes ago, and then it gets deep into mental health, and that's what my aim is for men's mental health. Like, I'm gonna keep pushing it. I'm gonna keep doing it. Be everywhere, trying to promote the conversation, and not just. The main thing is promoting the conversation by not, like, actually having the conversation 24/7. It's having a conversation and including it and making it normal. So lads could be in the pub and they could be talking about every single thing we're talking about now, but then mental health can just creep into it. And then someone would say, "Oh, I'm not really feeling great lately." And then one of his friends could say, "Oh, well, here, listen, I'll meet you next week and we'll go for a walk or we'll go for a hike." I want it to be a normal conversation rather than this, as I said, people have an image of when you're talking to them about mental health is people come in like white coats and shit, and you know what I mean? They're sitting there ready to sedate you. It doesn't have to be like that. It can just be a normal, casual conversation, lads sitting down, having a laugh, and that's it. That's why I say laughter is the answer, not silence.
That's a great part about doing a podcast. It's a great medium to have these conversations. Like, you couldn't do this the same if you're trying to make like a YouTube video. It would have to be so much shorter, and you have to specify so fast.
Yeah.
It is a YouTube video, but it's very different.
Because it's spaced out. It's not all just.
Can't have this conversation on radio.
Long conversation about it, like, definitely can't have this conversation on radio.
Yeah.
People change the channel straight away, like.
Yeah.
Like
it's cheap. That's the worrying thing.
It's cheap to do.
Yeah.
It's easy to do, and we can have anyone on.
Yeah.
So it's great. We can talk about anything for ages, and people love it because they feel like they're part of the conversation.
In which they are, you know what I mean? And the one thing I'm looking me aim is at one point before Corona came in, I was looking to go to schools. So go to schools and like boys' schools in particularly or mixed, and have this conversation. But obviously that's been prolonged for the next while. But that's what I want to do. I want to go and have the conversation in schools and hopefully encourage young lads who are struggling with their mental health, or not even struggling with their mental health. I just want young lads to realise that they have mental health. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, every single person on the planet has it. And something can happen in your life that can make it go a little bit bad. But these are the steps and the tools that you can use to pick yourself back up.
Yeah. And a huge tool for feeling better if you're going through a bout of depression or about just having a rough old time is definitely exercise. Now, I see a lot of people say like that's a really selfish or mean way of putting it. Like I'm still depressed, but I work out 4 days a week. I eat healthy. Now that's a lot of those are still valid. They're a minority of cases, but I know from my own personal experience, I had a fairly rough time back in 2I. But I went to the gym up until 5th year after that, and I felt great about myself.
Brilliant.
I know other lads who've gone through something similar. That going to the gym just helped them. Full stop.
Yeah, and like, one of the questions I get quite often is like, will the gym help me? And the answer I have for mental health is not one brush paints all, but not one brush paints all. So the gym works for you, but being creative works for me. So if I'm not actually acting out on the ideas I have, then I start going into a slump. But exercise works for so many people. Eating healthy works for so many people. Having conversations works for people. But the one thing with exercise is it actually releases positive endorphins in your brain. So it physically will make you feel better. Listen, by no means it's going to cure depression. But the way I kind of say things to people is if you're struggling, nothing's going to change if nothing changes. So if you're living the exact same life and you're struggling and your mental health is really bad and you're not doing anything about it and you're not changing your lifestyle, you're not changing people you're with, nothing is going to change. You know what I mean? So it's about implementing changes into your life, and exercise is definitely one of the positive things you can do, but it's all about trial and error. So try exercising for a couple of months. You know, try these things, but if you're not trying, it's not gonna make you feel any better. And sometimes you could be in a point of depression where literally nothing is gonna help you, bar going and speaking to someone. And but see, stuff like this can make you feel better. You know, it's not gonna cure you, but it can make you feel better. And 100% with you exercise. I only recently last year got a bike and I'm cycling every day kind of.
Yeah.
I feel 100% after going. Like sometimes I feel like shit or something's getting me down. Jump on my bike, put my earphones in, go for a cycle. When I come back, I'm a new man.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it depends who you are. I know some people have days they can't get out of bed. It's just that bad. Yeah. Don't even want to get out of bed to eat. And I think if you're at that point, it's kind of bad. You need to be really trying to get some help. Or if you're friends with someone like that and you know that they're living like that, you should try help them.
Yeah.
Like
that's
friends are a huge part of it.
100%. And I done a video last night. I released it. It's on the YouTube channel. It's basically the importance of a text message. So like how a text message can literally change your friend's life or your family's life, and how important it is checking in on your friends. Because me growing up, when I say me growing up, it's like 17 to 21, 22, still probably to this day, because growing up is a trap. Don't let it happen. But my younger years, I was always kind of a messer and having a laugh and stuff like that. And not many me friends checked in on me. You know what I mean? Because I portrayed this image that everything was perfectly fine. But then I'd go home at night, or I'd be getting up for work the next day and literally cannot get out of bed and like physically will not get out of bed. Waking up at 5 in the day, 3 in the day, all that shit happening. But none of my friends seen that because they seen me in the pub and they seen the laughing, they seen the joking, they seen that. So it is very important, just as you said, just to check in on people. Text them and say, how's things? Especially Jordan. Like I know we went through a lockdown, we're kind of coming towards the end of it now. But like now and the last couple of months and in the next couple of months, because we don't know what the fuck's going to happen with this coronavirus, it's so important to check in on your friends. You're not going to the pub every weekend. You're not seeing them every weekend. Just give them a text, you know what I mean? That's why I done the video last night, the importance of it.
That was a big thing for us when doing this. It just gave us an outlet to just talk.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Like, I went through most of the beginning of quarantine just sitting here, this very desk, playing video games.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
And then and then I started getting into YouTube, like watching YouTube videos, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be like this for ages. I can't even see the woman, can't see the friends. No one's texting me. I don't even use my phone as much anymore. What am I going to do? And being a bit of a creative lad, I said, okay, we'll try a podcast. And I put it on Twitter, thinking about starting a podcast. Who wants in? And 2 lads got in contact, and we've been doing it since that day.
Brilliant.
And it's given us a chance to talk to each other, to know each other better. And, you know, if one of us is going through shit, we can talk about it. We can help each other.
That's brilliant. It's fantastic. It's great to have an outlet like that. And I think sports teams and stuff like that are always a great outlet for lads. You know what I mean? Like, I've recently went back to start playing football again, but then done my ankle. But I noticed as soon as you're a part of a team and a collective, like the one thing I feel is you need in life, we all are chasing a purpose. We're all chasing like, what am I here for? Like, what is my purpose? What do I belong to? Where do I belong? And I feel like one of the main things we need is we need to feel a part of something. We need to feel a part of our community. We need to feel a part of our friends. We need to feel a part of something. And the reason, as I said, the Just Man Up group was set up was because that. Well, listen, okay, you're not a part of a sports team, or you are a part of a sports team, or you don't fit in society, or you do fit in society. It doesn't matter. The group is there. You are a part of some. You are connected to some. Just like you three now are connected to this podcast, you have each other. Do you know what I mean? And I think with mental health, it's so important to set up outlets, and it's very important to set up like foundations, so people in your life or a podcast or something you can do that'll make you feel better. And hearing you three literally setting up this podcast and having each other, it makes me so happy. It's brilliant.
Thanks, million. Knowing what you're doing has the same effect. For me, at least, I don't know. I'm sure the lads feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
You're allowing this conversation to happen, and you're helping people. And it's coming out of your own pocket. Like you probably.
That's more than a lot of people do. Like,
you probably didn't have that mic to start with.
No, we didn't.
You probably did not have the setup you have at the moment.
No, definitely didn't.
You didn't have merch.
No, definitely didn't.
That was helping people. You know?
Yeah. I started with a USB mic from Amazon, 10 quid. Wouldn't recommend it.
We've been doing the exact same thing. Me and Thomas's mic, we have the same mic.
Oh my god, I had that mic. That's the mic I had. Toner, yeah. Well, I don't know how yours sound so good. Mine sound like shit.
I used to have to use, because I'm doing a film next year, I had a mic for a boom mic, and I used to have to like get really down low, like lower my seat down to here, and I have this little port here for putting in a mic, and I had to get the little boom mic and put it down in here and be talking down here.
Yeah. And that's it. It's all about ground.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's it. That's the beauty of podcasts. That's all you need is a microphone. All you need. You kind of need a few bits.
Don't even
more.
need it. You can use your phone if you have an iPhone.
You could use your phone. But like, to be honest, when I did start, and I started with fuck all, like the main way is that the setup is improving, like the merch is coming out, is because of Twitch. To be honest with you, Twitch, like well, I had at one point over 200 subscribers on Twitch. So like I had like 500 followers. Twitch subscribers are like they're paying $5 a month. I'm getting half of that. And that's people believing in what I'm trying to do. And without them, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have this set up, because I did say to people, like I have a job. People do not need to pay me. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing this for free. Like I get paid. Like I have a job. They don't need.
I noticed as well. You donate a lot of it.
Yeah, well, I've donated to, like, we done a 24-hour charity stream. A couple of weeks ago, we raised $2.5 for the Samaritans. I done a stream, just a random stream, when Black Lives Matter originally came out, like the first day of it. I think it was the day George Floyd died. I was streaming, and I was like, maybe I should just throw on a charity. We raised like £200 for that. So yeah, I tried.
Did you have anyone in your chat like shit talking us?
Shit talking Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Because people do bad at the moment.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Like, people came in and I said, listen, as I said, compassion, empathy. Listen, mate, I respect your opinion, but this is what I'm doing. This is going to make me feel better. You don't have to be here. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to donate. But if people want to donate, they can donate. If people want to be here, they can be here. You do not have to be here giving me shit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not going to do any of us any good, because I'm at a point in my life now where I'm very confident and I'm very happy in my life. So some random person on the internet saying something isn't really going to affect me as much as it maybe a couple of years ago would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if any of the Twitch subscribers are listening to this, I love you all. Thanks so much.
So I think that's a great place to finish it, unless you have anything else you want to bring up.
Nah, listen, just thanks for having me on, lads, and keep up the good work.
Same goes. I'm going to be following you for the next while.
No, I enjoyed this conversation. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. Hopefully I'm not too rusty, but I enjoyed having a conversation, which is I enjoyed being here. And if anyone wants to find me, Just Man Up Social on all platforms, YouTube, everywhere.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yes, thanks so much for getting on. We really appreciate it.
And,
take care, Andy.
Yeah, have a great day, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, lads.
Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your grandma about the podcast, and take it handy.
Good luck.
Good luck.